get away from them. Every time I'd scroll, and the first time you see it, an image of him when he's a kid and his family and their story, but I was like, you start getting angry at it, like more than mailers coming to your home. If you're just trying to like search for a video or get some updated news, and Juliana's campaign. And while she obviously got a lot of money from the governor, including a Pritzker-funded super PAC, she spent less than $3 million from her campaign, just for a little bit of comparison to Krishnamurthy's $24 million. And I do think it's worth noting, this number also astounds me because you just think of like electeds and, the first black senator to serve in D.C. came from Illinois. Right? Carol Moseley Braun. And that was in 1992? Julia Stratton will only become the 6th. Like how? What? I did not know that we had not gained more ground. At any rate, the crypto industry. So that was one of the biggest spenders, was the crypto industry, with more than $13 million in Illinois races through the super PAC Fair Shake. So a lot of people were asking me to talk about Fair Shake, and I haven't had a chance to do the deep dive. You heard those ads here. You saw them on television. You saw them online. So they spent close to $10 million to keep Stratton out of this race because she has promised to have a crypto regulation. So that's one of the big things. And the same organization, Fair Shake, spent more than $3 million attacking candidates in 2 of the House races. You heard those, I believe, against LaShawn Ford, because the candidates that they were spending against had voted for consumer protection regulations on cryptocurrency. So that's crypto executives spending $10 million here in Illinois. And they lost 2 of their races, just so you know. So Fair Shake also has, Fair Shake had a lot to do with Donald Trump also getting elected. Just want you to know that. The other big spender was AIPAC, the American. We say AIPAC over and over again. I think for those who hear that and are not quite sure, it is the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, and its affiliated group spent more than $22 million across 4 Chicago area congressional races. And AIPAC started other PACs, essentially. They funded PACs with names like Elect Chicago Women, Chicago Progressive Partnership, which sound like neutral-sounding names, and you don't really have any idea who's behind them. So their results were mixed. They were successful in 2 of the 4 Chicago area races, where they spent $21 million. So AIPAC spent heavily against Mayor Biss, who is now the nominee for that congressional race in the 9th District. And I just think that's very interesting. So we are getting a new wave of legislators who are most likely going to Washington, with 5 new House nominees and a Senate candidate. So this is going to be very interesting. This is what our elections look like now, folks. Just so you know. Let's get to Jim on the line. Hey, Jim, what's on your mind, my friend?
Hi, Patty. They're picking another nut to run the Republican secret police today. I think he's came out of the Linda McMahon wrestling school because he's been in too many headlocks. So you can tell he's been, he's definitely got something cut off oxygen to the brain. But anyway, he's running, and you want to hear irony. There's 8 protesters. They finally got a judge who's pro-secret police, and they are facing 15 years in jail for protesting against ICE. 8 of them.
Yeah.
What state?
It was Texas. I believe that was in Texas where they were convicted.
Was it in Texas? Yeah. Now, imagine this. Now, since the beginning of the year, 12 people have died excruciating deaths in the hands of ICE, strapped off everywhere on the street like garbage. They've shot at least 5. They've shot 5 people that I could even call. 4 of them murdered. I don't see them going to justice. Do you see them going in front of the court?
Nope. No, they won't even let the state. Let's say between Renee Good and Alex Preddy's killings, they won't even let the state organization, the law enforcement investigate. They've kept any sort of evidence from them. Yeah.
They have a secret police judge now. Apparently, they shaft these judges. Of course, it's got to be Texas, but they shaft these judges, where any judge who would walk into a courtroom and look at a client, whether they were, I don't care what they were. You're supposed. Justice is blind, as far as I can tell. He's supposed to be. And the other thing is, Patty, real quick, because you guys were great last night. I listened till 10:30. You were fabulous, but the money. Think of the money APAC's money.
Yeah.
Right. If they really wanted to do the Jewish people a service, give it out to the homeless. Give it to the homeless. Give it to people, a charity where they need the money. They don't need this. We don't need this. This is so sickening that you turn on the news and they go, well, they spent $80 zillion yesterday and $90 zillion. Who wants to hear that?
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that. It doesn't impress me. I don't care how much they spent. It doesn't matter. The point is, we have a secret police department running through the streets. We got a nut running it. And the Republicans are all for it. And they're going to continue to put people into prisons and die of horrible deaths. And they're not even mentioning the dead in Iran. It's over 1,500 that I can count. And these are women, children, and everything else. Beirut, 100 children have died. Over 200 children have died in Lebanon. A beautiful place, by the way, because I know some Lebanese. They're beautiful people. And we don't even talk about Palestine because they're just murdering about 6 people a night, every night, night after night. You're shooting
it's
them.
Horrifying. I know. It's
yeah.
The levels to which these people voted for no more new wars, and here we are, as you mentioned, not just in the Middle East and what's going on in Gaza. It's absolutely insane. I got to run, Jim.
It is. I know you do, Patty. Anyway, you were great last night. Thanks,
I appreciate it. Thank you. The whole team was amazing. I probably did forget somebody, but everybody was so good. So please, I apologize if I did forget. I also don't want to forget to thank our sponsors. I am so grateful for your support of Driving It Home with me, Patti Vasquez, here on WCPT 820, as well as KKNW 1150 in Seattle. We want to thank our friends at Source Solar. Make an appointment with Peter Sorellis. Maybe it's time to get solar panels on your house or business. You know, sometimes you think about it. Like you walk by a house and you go, I wonder how much that costs, or what are all the requirements, and is my house even eligible? Go to source.solar and make an appointment. Peter will walk you through the entire process. So again, source.solar. We will be talking to Peter in about a week or so. I know he's traveling. We also want to thank our friends at Minocqua Brewing Company. Go to minocquabrewingcompany.com and put in an order for some progressive brew. You know my favorite. Say it with me. It is and always has been the Gulf of Mexico Mexican lager. It's a lot to put on a can, but when you got a lot of crazy going on. Just saying, what's in the can helps a little bit if you are so inclined. Please drink responsibly. Go to MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. My latest piece is one battle after another. A little bit of my take on these primaries, and we've been talking about the money. Want to make sure that folks are engaged, informed, and ready to go when it comes to our general elections, and maybe talk to people who are experiencing primaries across the country in the months to come. We also want to thank our friends at Are You Really Winning? Go to areyoureallywinning.org. And if you or someone you know is struggling with a gambling addiction, please don't hesitate to reach out. There is no shame in asking for help. My father was a gambling addict, and I wish there were organizations like the Way Back In and Are You Really Winning that could help our family identify that it was an addiction. And I know that we look at that as a flaw, or just it's chaos is all I know. So please go to join our friends at Are You Really Winning? March is Gambling Awareness Month. So thank you again for their support. We also want to thank our friends at Pride Coffee Roasters. Go to pridecoffeeroasters.com. They are back in town. So now when you put your order in for your freshly roasted single origin beans, they'll be ready to go. And they will be at the Jefferson Park Sunday Market this Sunday at the Copernicus Center from 10 to 2 p.m. I'll be there as well, volunteering. And again, I've told you before, the Pride Coffee Roasters, Jackie and Patty started as a hobby in their kitchen. They just, they wanted to see if they could make a better pot of coffee. And when they realized they were really good at it, they decided to start a small batch roasting business. And it's just amazing. And every mug of coffee is like a love letter in your cup. And every bag you buy of their coffee, you write the next chapter of their story. So go to pridecoffeeroasters.com. That's pridecoffeeroasters.com. More after this on WCPT and KKNW 1150.
Tom Hartman.
Autocrats generally, particularly those autocrats who have narcissistic personality disorder and are sociopaths, as is, in my opinion, Trump, typically do not tolerate high-profile people around them. They want to be the star of the show, and that's certainly been the history of Donald Trump. The only people that he will tolerate around him are people who, when he says, kiss my ass, they fall to their knees.
The Thom Hartmann Radio Program, weekdays 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on WCPT 820, where facts matter.
WCPT replay.
I worked all day updating my office on what's going on with ICE agents. These are animals. There's video of them tasing a man who was already zip-tied in a vehicle, and they tased him because what? They didn't like the way he was behaving. Or he was already zip-tied, not to mention a 1-year-old who was exposed to tear gas as her parents were running errands, as they were also, by the way, chasing down an 11-year-old girl. I'm not going to say I'm sorry for calling them animals who won't even share their badge numbers, their names, or their faces with us. Spare me for their protection, as though there aren't judges, police officers, FBI, all the different areas of law enforcement and our justice system who do put themselves on the line. We've had judges whose families have been killed in their homes. So you're telling me that an ICE agent is feeling a little bit, they're feeling vulnerable?
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Hey Google.
Welcome back to Driving It Home with
Chicago's
Patti
Progressive
Vasquez.
Talk from TuneIn.
Sorry about that. I got so excited to talk to Terry Cosgrove. I pushed 2 buttons at once. Joining us on the line right now is Terry Cosgrove, our good friend of the show. He worked for over 33 years with Personal PAC as the executive director to expand access to abortion rights for women across the state of Illinois. Terry, I believe you were a little ecstatic and excited last night. How are you doing today?
I'm recovering from a long day yesterday, with and then the victory party for Julia Stratton. It was wonderful.
How late were you there last night?
Not till I got there, left around 11, but there were a lot of people leaving at the same time, so there was, lines of stuff, but not overly late. I expected that we wouldn't even find out. I thought it'd be such a close race we wouldn't be finding out who the winner was until all the mail-in ballots were counted. But little did I know, these are the kind of election nights I like.
Yes.
You know who won early, especially when you win. So, yeah.
That is a good night. And I wonder, I thought, my instinct was he was going to win because of the money, because early on I'd heard so many people say, I don't even know who she is and all those things. He spent $24 million. That's not even counting the negative ads from other super PACs. From her campaign, it was about $3 million. What do you think was, in those last 3 weeks, with the polling, with the money, what do you think did it for Lieutenant Governor Julia Stratton?
Well, I as someone who was involved with the campaign as a volunteer for 11 months, I constantly heard from people that where is she? No one knows who she is. And I was actually, she tells a story at events. I was wearing a T-shirt and her button, like at the very beginning. I think I had the first button, and people were coming up to me all over the place and saying, who is she? I'd never heard of her. And then as time went on, that changed. And I think today, if I wore my T-shirt to the grocery store, almost everyone would know who she is. So timing is everything in politics, Patty, and I think that I think that Raja's early support, because he went up on TV last July, and I think his support was an inch thick and a mile long, and it just, as soon as people were hearing there was an alternative, and that was Juliana Stratton, they were attracted to her as a candidate, and I think Raja. So I think he really miscalculated spending all that money before New Year's Day. I mean, people like us who are deeply involved in politics, we pay attention, but the vast majority of voters don't even start paying attention until 6 or 8 weeks out. In fact, it's amazing that when you look at approval ratings of Congress and a whole bunch, and politicians writ large, I mean, it's not exactly the highest, and it's one of those things that, I mean, people do their civic duty, but they don't start paying attention, and they don't start digging deep until the election gets closer. And I think that the election really didn't start until after the first of the year and really didn't even begin until February 1st for the vast majority of voters. And I just think that Juliana ran an incredible campaign. I loved her campaign slogan, "Give the people what they want." I mean that, and in fact, last night at the victory party, that's what people were chanting: "Give the people what they want," and that's what she did. She called for a living wage, not a minimum wage, whereas Raja was in favor of raising the minimum wage to like $17 or something. She was very clear about Medicare for all, and I think she really knocked it. I think the one event that got people to pay attention, even though not a lot of people watched it. But that first debate, she came out of the gate and just dominated that first debate, and that it got reported, it got covered, and that's when people started to pay attention. And like I said at the beginning, timing is everything, and the woman works so hard. At times I would look at her daily schedule and I go, I can't even believe this. And plus, she's so genuine. In every room she went in, she really, people were just attracted to her. She's just so down to earth and real. She's the real deal. I worked on her first state rep campaign in 2016. So I've known her for 10 years, wow. And I just grow to respect her every day more and more. She's the real deal. She's going to be a great U.S. Senator once we get her elected on November 3rd. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. The other thing I want to say, I have a little anecdote that I think says everything. She was asked to give an award for the Indiana Choice Coalition, which is the pro-choice group that Project 50 is working with in Indiana to turn that right-wing state around. And she was asked to give an award to the doctor who, the 10-year-old that was raped by her father in Ohio that couldn't get an abortion in Ohio and he had to go to Indiana. Well, the Indiana Attorney General tried to indict the doctor. I forget if he came to an indictment or dropped the case. But at any rate, he dropped it eventually, but she was living with an indictment hanging over her head. So the Indiana pro-choice group decided to give her, this doctor, and sorry for not remembering her name, an award, and they asked Julia Stratton to give it. Well, it was around their rose ceremony. It was the worst snowstorm that night. And Juliana felt so committed to showing up to give this award because she admired this doctor so much. She drove to Indiana in the most driving snowstorm on a dark January night to present this award because she couldn't imagine not being there and letting the group down, but showing her personal respect for this doctor. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, what else do you need to know?
Terry's like, I'm all in. By the way, that was, I just looked up, it was Dr. Caitlin Bernard.
Exactly. Thank you, Patty. You're so good.
No, here's why, Terry, to your point about Julia Stratton, and I try to remain neutral as I was expressing when you were on, because I want to leave it to the, I am off, I have a bad poker face, but I will tell you,
I do too.
Similarly, similarly, I will tell you every single time I speak to Lieutenant Governor Julia Stratton, she remembers my family story. She remembers what brought me down to Springfield to advocate for families like mine. And I agree completely. She is the real deal. I want to reiterate that. But I do want to also ask you about the money that was, as somebody who's been involved in this for so long and understands so many of the angles, Fair Shake spent $10 million against her specifically. And
Rasha spent 28. It wasn't 23.
Oh, it's 28. Yeah. I mean, it looks like voters kind of want to punish that kind of spending, and I hope that continues, don't you?
Well, I don't know if voters are, I have a hard time hearing who's sponsoring the ads. I mean, I have to pay a real close attention and look at the writing on the bottom really quickly. So I'm not sure that voters outside of people like us are really paying attention to who's paying for it. I think it's an insider baseball game, honestly, and the press covers it. But first of all, in this election, there was so much. I had a hard time keeping it separate. In fact, I would read the Sun-Times or the other stories that were written that broke broke it down by each one, and my eyes were glazing over as I was reading it. I mean, there was so much. Honestly, I couldn't even tell. If you asked me to name all the groups that had money in these races, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't list all of them. I'd lose the bet.
That is wild.
So, yeah, so I'm not sure that it matters. First of all, you and I I've discussed this with other people. People say, "Oh, no one watches TV." You know who watches TV? Older voters and late deciding voters.
Yeah.
That there isn't one campaign strategy that is effective. There's radio, there's TV, there's direct mail, there's social media, there is in-person events, and I don't think you can dismiss all of them. But we know that network TV is still, as much as it's losing its, and that also goes for cable. Network TV and radio are still, people listen to the radio and they watch network TV, and the reason why it's so expensive because it's effective, and especially to late deciding voters, and.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
Yep.
Terry, I'm so excited to get your perspective on this, and I really wanted to celebrate you and say congratulations. I know how deeply involved you were in this campaign, how much it meant to you, and in particular because she is such a champion for reproductive rights as well as abolishing ICE. So before we let you go, I do want to ask you, what do you want folks to know about Project 50? Where can they learn more information?
Project50.org, project50pac.org, yes. And it is a wonderful organization, and we are taking the Personal PAC model to other states where there is no possibility of referendum and where the only way to gain access to safe legal abortion is through electing pro-choice people to state office, just like we did in Illinois. And so we're involved with Missouri, Indiana, Louisiana, South Carolina, and Arkansas, and I'm probably missing one or two other states, Oklahoma, where women are living under the most draconian anti-abortion bills and laws, and we are slowly but surely going to change that around, and we are doing it now as we speak, and we need everyone's input and everyone's support.
Well, everyone go to Project 50 PAC. That's project50pac.org. Sign up, because then you get a letter from the desk of Terry Cosgrove. Senior advisor, Project 50. I like getting those in my inbox. I'm just saying.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Good.
Thank you, Terry. I look forward to having you back in studio again soon.
Absolutely. Just let me know when. Take care.
You too. You let me know when.
Okay.
We'll let each other know when.
Okay. Okay.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye. Let's take a break here. When we come back, we're going to talk to our friend Shawn Childs from No Kids Die in the Chai in just a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150 in Seattle. Like Terry said, people listen to the radio, so I'm glad you're here.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Cloudy skies tonight with a few showers after midnight, a low of 34 degrees, with winds out of the southwest around 5 miles an hour. On Thursday, showers early in the day, otherwise partly sunny with a high of 43, and northeast winds at 5 to 10. Friday, cloudy with a high temperature of 60. Saturday, sunny at 62. And for Sunday, chance of rain with a high of 49. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 46.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
This is First Take at Daybreak with Al Kendall. Sundays, 7 a.m., where sharp minds meet real conversations. From city programs making a difference to guests shaping Chicagoland's future, Al's got the mic and the message. You'll hear from folks like Board President Tony Preckwinkle, city and county officials, and maybe even your alderman. He has a rotating cast of insiders who actually know what's going on. If you want the headlines and the backstory, start your morning here. First Take at Daybreak. Sundays, 7 a.m., unplugged and unfiltered.
Find power and prestige in a brand new Porsche from the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park. Browse and test drive our extensive selection, like the 2026 Porsche Macan Electric. Right now, lease the 2026 Macan Electric for only $1049 a month for 39 months. Discover performance like no other when you visit the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park or PorscheExchange.com. $9,999 would sign up for qualified buyers. Excludes tax, title, license, and doc fee. No security deposit required. Expires 3/31/26.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
Welcome back to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our drive home. We are going to welcome our guest, Shawn Childs, in just a moment. I just want to make sure I get to your calls because I know some folks have some thoughts they want to share. Let's get to Keith on, who's in Chicago. Keith on, what's on your mind, my friend?
Hey, how you doing, Patty? How's everybody at WCPT?
I'm so happy it's getting warm out again. What's on your mind, friend?
Yeah, great. But then it's going to drop back cold.
I know.
But I'll get to the point, and I'll go back in time before the bomb started. When if you're up in age, I'll call it, and you remember Susie Wiles?
Yeah.
There was this photo of the Hegseth and all the people standing in attention, but she had the back of her hand in the face of the president. And and if you're old enough, you kind of know what the back of the hand in front of your face and in front of the face you're talking to means. It's universal. It means if your parents ever gave you the not the hand, the back of the hand,
yep,
to your face. That just means you did something that's so horrible they lost their mind for a second and can't believe that you're you. That's what that hand means, and that is exactly what his presidency declares right now. Somebody to say, okay, Mr. President, I can't even talk to you right now. I can't even think about what to even say at this moment. All the senior people, the people that's got all the power in the world, are standing at attention as if she just slapped them in the face, because even they know what that hand means, And I'm just so glad that Illinois showed everybody else in the world that Democrats aren't independent. They aren't Republican. They aren't even Democrats. They're just people trying to live the American way. And Susie Wiles is like the representative of MAGA. And she doesn't even have a real position. But when she gave the president that hand, that was saying to your backing is over with. There's nothing. I'm gonna declare cancer and hope I get some sympathy and roll out quietly.
Yeah, for folks who don't know, Susie Wiles has been diagnosed with breast cancer, which Trump apparently shared. I don't even know if he had. He shared everyone's medical conditions on Tuesday. There was one. Congressman Dunn apparently has a heart condition and has catastrophic heart condition, and Trump just blasted it on in front of everybody. I've got to run because we got a guest in the studio, Keithon. But thank you for sharing your thoughts, my friend. Of course, have a good one, my friend. Take care. It's always good to hear from Keithon, and I wanted to hear what he had to say, and I want to hear what our guest in the studio has to say. Our good friend Shawn Childs has been doing the work in Chicago's most underserved communities for years, not from a desk, not from a policy office, but on the ground in neighborhoods with kids who need someone to show up. He's the founder of No Kids Die on the Chai and the the House of Hope mentoring program. Shawn, welcome back to the studio, my friend.
How you doing, Patty?
I'm doing all right. Is that? Let me hear. See. Oh, you know what? I don't have a microphone in front of me. Grab that microphone. Swing that right in front of you. It's like we're just having a conversation. Right. That's probably my fault. I was in that seat last night. I probably made a mess over here. There you're good. You're good. Okay. There we go.
So can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Welcome back.
Welcome. Thank you.
Yes, you look great, and I love your hat, by the way. It was a good season for the Bears.
Great season, but we just traded more, and I don't know.
Hey, I like the coach. I like the quarterback. Good things are happening. Speaking of which, Mayor Johnson is pointing to historic drops in homicides, and you are on the ground every day. Is that reflected in what you're seeing, what you're experiencing?
Well, first of all, I want to say, we lost a lot of young people last year. A lot of people that this year is dying. So I don't want to be insensitive to people that we lost. But crime is down. I don't want to be insensitive to people that lost, but we have to be honest with ourselves. Compared to the previous years, previous mayors, crime is down. I'm on the boots. I'm boots on the ground every day with a team. I'm at the trends with the kids. So I see what's going on. We just got to be honest with ourselves. Just a few years ago, there was carjackings and robberies every 2-3 seconds where women and seniors was getting carjacked and robbed like every 10-15 minutes. It still happens now, but it's not how it used to be. So for people to sit up and say that they playing with the numbers, crime is not really down, I say you must not be outside, because I'm boots on the ground, and I know a couple years ago that innocent women, working men, especially up in like Bucktown and around Wicker Park, Milwaukee, places like that. They was getting robbed and carjacked every 10-15 minutes. You barely hear about it now. It still happens, but it's down because Brandon Johnson created a new task force, a robbery task force. That people try to ignore, but he created a robbery task force that slowed them things down. So crime is definitely down. Is the numbers great? No, but I take it for whatever it is. If it's down 5 than it was before, it's down. It's not higher. Let's just say if crime would have doubled up Brandon Johnson, then he would have got crucified for that. So crime is down, and since crime is down, he don't get the credit. He don't get the credit for it. So I don't agree with everything Brandon Johnson do, but I agree with enough things he do because he have a heart and he cares. So a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people don't agree with a lot of things he do, but I know him. I know what he does. He's not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but crime is down, and our communities are starting to look different. I'm there.
And here, I will say, and I know every family is different. I know you wanted to sort of preface it by saying, with all due respect to survivors, my brother was a victim of homicide. So when we say murders are down, it's also something that, maybe our loved ones in whatever way have an impact on the safety of others when people like you do the hard work of protecting our communities. If Mayor Johnson, as you said, there's some things you agree with. If he's listening right now, and maybe he is, he's a regular on Richard Chu show. Once in a while, he is on the phone with me, but he comes in for Richard, whatever, Mayor. If he's listening right now, what do you need from City Hall that maybe you're not getting?
You mean specifically my foundation?
Your foundation.
Well, many things. I did receive a grant. You know that. I received a grant. My foundation, we need more access to things. Right now, our struggle is, and it's kind of strange, but there's so many centers being built in underserved communities, correct? So you have these big companies coming in, building these major centers with the tennis court, with soccer fields, basketball rims, basketball court. They're being built off TIF dollars and tax dollars from the communities and private funds. But the centers are being built because they're putting it out there where it's saying this is for underprivileged kids, somewhere for they go, a safe haven. Once the centers get built, it's not for that. So it's 2 centers right now that, I might have to protest real soon. That's beautiful. Tennis court, soccer field. I'm talking about gaming rooms, everything. You can't get in. I've been there twice already. One time they told me it was $6 a kid to play basketball. Second time they told me you got to sign up. I'm email, and these centers are beautiful in poor neighborhoods. I don't know a lot, but I know that these centers are being built because of the stories they're telling the politicians and the aldermen, and we're gonna bring this for underprivileged kids so they can have somewhere to go, a safe haven. Once they're built in our communities, our kids don't go, and our kids can't get in, and it's wrong. And I reached out to them, I reached out to the aldermen, and I'm not going to accept it. So my foundation now probably holds my place, that the Household Foundation probably holds probably 50 kids on a good day. It's small, 50 kids on a good day. I could squeeze 60, 70 kids in there with about 50 kids. Right now, I have over 125 kids in my program.
Wow.
Over 125 kids in my program. Every kid want to join the Household Foundation. Every kid in my area in Humboldt Park. I'm not trying to brag, but every kid want to join my foundation. What I need is access to things where they can go play basketball, where they can go play tennis, where they can have open gym. I don't have a gym, things like that. I could take them to other places, but the Park District charge. All these other places don't let you in. Yeah, the Park District charge. It's like $20 a person to play basketball. I mean, it's strange. So what I'm saying is this. You have me and other activists on the west side, near north side of Chicago, that's doing the work, that's taking care of the kids, that's saving lives, that's putting our life on the line. Why not give us access to these places where you can say, okay, Tuesday and Thursday, the House of Hope, get the gym.
Yeah.
Once a week, the House of Hope can come hoop. Once a week, they can come and have open gym. It's not like that. So I'm fighting that right now because I had to go buy a basketball rim for my kids, a professional basketball rim. So it's like we have to struggle getting it inside the foundation, struggle getting it out because the parks are they just drug affiliated and homeless people live in the park. So our kids really can't be in the park. So I bought a basketball rim for them. So right now it's just funding and
access.
Access. Just give us just open up these park districts and say, look, that's where we can go. And it's so hard. It's so hard to get in these places, and it's strange.
We are talking to Shawn Childs. He has founded the organizations No Kids Die in
the Shy,
and the House of Hope.
House of Hope Foundation. So No Kids Die in the Shy is the title I go by because that's what I believe in my heart, that should no kids die in the world, but it's No Kids Die in the Shy. House of Hope is my legal name. That's my 501c3. That's my legal name. So,
and folks can follow your efforts and support you by going to Facebook, the website. What's the best way? Both those?
You can go to nokidsdinashot.org. You can Facebook Shawn Childs, Household Foundation. So I have a Household Foundation page and the nokidsdinashot.org website. So on my website, it shows everything as far as my work program. I have a work program called Operation Clean Youth that I created. The last time I was telling you about it. So it's up and running now, and the kids love it. It's a work program that keeps the community clean, where we go to different areas of Chicago. We clean the community. We keep our community clean because I realized growing up that when the kids see a clean community, it helps them feel a certain type of way. It gives a clean heart and clean mind and clean soul. And it just shows them that, I don't have to live in filth, or every time I come outside, it's gangbangers or prostitution or drugs everywhere. So these kids love cleaning their community, and I pay them every week. So it's called Operation Clean Youth. The problem is, when you get these funds from the city or the state, it's so much red tape on the whereas that they might give you money to pay them, but then you don't have money for trips. So you might, and this is how grant work, a lot of people don't know that. So they might give you money to say, okay, you can feed them, but you can't do this. So it's not like an open grant where you can just do what you want to do with the kids. And that's the problem I have. I don't have money for trips and things. I have money to feed them and pay them, but I don't have money for trips and things, so I got to keep hustling to get it. But it's going great. I'm blessed by God. It's getting bigger and bigger. I pray that that the mayor or the governor or a philanthropy, somebody hear us and say, man, look, Shawn, you're doing the work. We would like to help you get a bigger facility, another van, things like that, because the work is being done.
That's Shawn Childs. We're going to continue our conversation in just a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150 in Seattle. Right back after this.
If you're looking to purchase a loved one's home after they passed away, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Pam wanted to purchase her grandmother's $400,000 home after she passed away, which was left to Pam's father, Ted, and her Aunt Betty. Ted listens to my show and wanted to forego his half of the equity of his mom's home and sell Pam the home for $200,000. Bad move. I recommended Pam purchase the home for $400,000 and get a gift of equity from her father, Ted, for $200,000. which enable Pam to purchase the home with a lower rate and no money out of her pocket. Let's review. I help Pam purchase her grandmother's home without having to bring a penny to the closing and secure a lower rate. Team Hochberg's helped thousands of radio listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com.
Atlantic Coast Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 643114.
WCPT replay.
I hear a lot of people saying that they hate Illinois. They hate Cook County. They literally, you can just see the passion and the anger when they talk about that. I can't wait to move away and move away. And everybody talks about getting out of the state, which, and I'll be honest with you, I love it here. But yet our house is still a seller's market. There's still more people that want to move in than are moving out. I mean, if so many people are leaving our state, then wouldn't the buyers have more power?
A lot of it has to do with how people identify. People's identity, the things they most cherish. And if you identify as someone who is conservative, you will look at some of the legislation that's been passed, pro-LGBTQ, pro-DEI, whatever other buzzwords that people on the right side of the political spectrum like to point at that are, to them, that are negative values, that our government and the majority of our people find enough value in it to protect it, abortion rights, whatever it is.
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Here's great news for those Chicagoans heading up to southern Wisconsin. Should you ever forget to load up on progressive brews from the local favorites like Rogers Park Provisions or Park West Liquor in Lincoln Park, Minocqua Brewing Company beer is now conveniently available at Dream Liquor and Cigar in Kenosha and in the Lake Geneva area at Delavan Liquor and Smoke in Delavan. If the great town of Madison, Wisconsin is your jam, please remember to swing into the Minocqua Brewing Company tap room at 2927 East Washington Avenue to grab some Resistance beer, pizza, t-shirts, and progressive camaraderie.
Welcome back to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our drive home with our friend Shawn Childs. He's the founder of No Kids Die in the Chai, and he's also got a mentoring program. His 501c3 is House of Hope, right?
House of Hope Foundation.
House of Hope Foundation, and we want to learn more about the work that he's doing. So we were talking about the great programs that you have. You have over 120 kids, but you want to make sure you're helping everybody. How do people find you and support the work that you're doing in addition to the website? Do you need volunteers? Do you need other mentors?
Well, we basically we do need a lot of volunteers. A lot of people want to get paid these days. That one of our roadblocks because a lot of stuff I do from the heart. I mean, I still have my full-time job. So a lot of people are like, you still work? Yes. I'm a lead mentor for another organization. So I have the only evening program probably on the west side of Chicago in my area. Mostly all programs from 9 to 5. The reason I was approved for my funding because I created a program that starts in the evening, 6 o'clock till the time when the kids want to go in the corner or the times when the kids want to go hang out at nighttime. They're in the House of Hope. So it's a safe haven. I also have the only work program for kids that get stipends. We're proactive, so we believe in catching them early. And I preach this to all the top politicians or to funders that you have to catch these kids in 3rd grade and 4th grade. You can't wait to 7th grade. You can't wait to 8th grade. It's almost too late. I was one of those kids that was out here doing bad things in 5th grade and 4th grade. So we're proactive. We catch them early, and that's why our program works. But we need volunteers. We always need funding because I hate when I turn my back on kids. And then not to really turn my back, but a lot of kids that signed up for my program for the summer, I can't accept them because we don't have the room. We don't have the space. So there's so much space in Chicago, so much open space that's just sitting there. Nobody's using schools and everything. I just pray that, a philanthropy or somebody come and say, Shawn, you could use this space. You could use this gym. You could use this so we could really help more kids. We're not perfect, but the work we're doing is working. It shows for itself. The parents call every day. They blow me up every day they come. Now the parents drop off food. They donate to us because they love what we're doing. So nokidsdinthechai.org is the website. You can go on there, sign up. If you want to donate, you can do that. We have Cash App. We have Zelle. Or you can come to the Household Foundation at 3908 West Division. 3908 West Division. Once again, we have one of the only evening programs probably in Chicago or on the west side of Chicago because we believe in being a safe haven and making sure the kids don't stand on the corner, make sure they're not out there doing bad things in the evening time.
And with the kids that you work with, what do you find works with them? What connects with the kids that you're mentoring?
First off, understanding them. So there's a lot of programs in the city of Chicago that call themselves mentor programs, but they can't relate to the kids. You have to be able to relate to them, understand them. It's not all about punching them, because you got to understand that kids' trauma is on different levels. It might be the mother's on drugs or the father's in jail, or anything, but you got to be able to relate to them. What helps with a lot of my kids, I noticed that, just to be honest, small thing, and this is love. I'm just going to be honest. It's not, I buy them ice cream. I take them places. I buy them food. I help them out, like if they need shoes for picture days, things like that. But it's the love. Just showing these kids, like if I showed you my message right now, my inbox right now, my kids probably call me every 30 minutes just to say, "What's up, Shawn?" It's the love, because I treat my foundation kids how I treat my own kids. And I realized that the best mentor in the world is a mentor that can treat a stranger kid like your own kid. And these kids, they know that, they feel that. That's another reason why a kid will listen to you. When they know you love them and they know you actually care, and it's not about the money, it's not about funding. They say you've been over backwards, you're there for them. When somebody died in their family, I go to the funerals. I help them get clothes for the funerals. When they have a problem in school, I'm at the school. When they're at home, it's to the point now that when the kids act up at home real bad, the parent is calling me. "Shawn, can you come talk to this boy? Can you come talk to her?" And I'm like, "Huh, that's your son." But I still go. So it's the love. A lot of these kids don't get the love at home. They don't get the love for the father, or the teacher is down on them. That happens a lot. The teacher is down on them. A lot of our schools that's in the inner city, if they can't do the work, or they're kind of acting out, now they got this thing where the teachers tell them put their head down. And it's sad, just put your head down. And these kids is passing every year. So kids in the 8th grade can't read. I got kids in my program. In 8th grade can barely read. The 8th grade can't do math. We have tutors come in to try to help them, things like that. But they're in 8th grade now. So we don't give up on them. But just to answer your question, the main thing these kids need is love. Don't turn your back on them. Don't give up on them, and show them that you understand.
We have a listener that asks, and I don't know if this helps them locate you, but they ask, do you have a tax ID number?
My EIN, yes. I wouldn't give it over.
I know. I'm like, I don't know.
Yes, I have a EIN number.
So maybe the question is, if they donate, if it's a tax deductible.
Yeah, it's tax deductible.
Yeah,
I'm 501c3, so I have a legal EIN number. So I would love for you to donate, whoever you are. Yes, you will get your tax credit. I definitely get your receipt.
I think that's the question.
Yeah.
And so the best place for them to make those donations is on your website?
Yeah, so it depends on who to do it. If you want to just make a basic donation, you can go on my website, No Kids Die in the Chi. So it's NOKIDSDIECHI.org. So it's No Kids Die in the Chi, NoKidsDieInTheChi.org. I also have Cash App. If people want to go through all that, Cash App is $HOHTMT, $HOHTMT. I also have Zelle. My Zelle is Household Foundation. So householdfoundation1@gmail.com. My phone number is 312-487-6815, 312-487-6815. And before I forget, recently I've been doing mentoring, speaking mentoring, as far as in schools and things like that. Right. So if it's anybody that's listening to this that have a child that can't make it to my program or can't contact me, I can come to you. If you have a proud child that you think going through something that's about to go left, that's what I call the left, that's going through things and they need some help, they need somebody to speak with them on the violence prevention or on this type of level, contact me. I can come to your house. We can meet up at McDonald's, whatever. So I've been expanding my knowledge, doing things like that. I got a speaking engagement at NIU next month. I don't have a date yet, but my daughter is going to NIU, then going to law school. So she's in NIU now, and they found out about her father, and they want me to come down there to speak. So I speak at NIU College the next month. So I do speaking engagements. Like
Excellent.
I say, if you have a kid that needs some help,
yep,
I'm willing to come out there.
Excellent. And again, if you go to my Facebook page, you go to the Patti Vasquez Show page, we have Shawn's information there as well. You can find all the links. If you missed anything at all, Shawn, really such great work, and I look forward to having you back, my friend. It's so good to see you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for all.
It's been too long.
Thank you for all you did. You always show love. Even before I got any funding, you was one of the ones that helped me put it out in the ethos to try to get the funding. So I truly appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Anytime at all. Let's take a break here. When we come back, it's the Up North Podcast. Have a great evening, Shawn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephanie Miller here. Let's talk digestion. Eat this, don't eat that. Actually, forget that. Eat this instead. No wonder so many people feel bad after trying to eat healthy. Something we do 3 times a day can turn into a crapshoot, and we do not want to go there. Here's what I learned from the Tummy Whisperer. Even healthy eating can backfire. That's why I trust Renee Barish at Digestive Health Solutions. As a certified digestive health specialist, Renee helps people go beyond Dr. Google and figure out what's really going on. If you've cleaned your diet up with no change, or you feel worse with bloating, reflux, constipation, diarrhea, or low energy, Renee will help you make sense of it all. And without having to live on steamed vegetables and regret. With Renee's guidance, digestion can calm down, food can stop being a gamble, and your body can finally feel healthy. Visit thetummywhisperer.com or just call Renee at 847-207-2034. That's 847-207-2034. Let's get you feeling better.
Amazon Business empowers leaders with smart business buying tools, leaving time to focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future at amazonbusiness.com.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. The Federal Reserve is keeping its benchmark interest rate unchanged. Saka Magani takes a look.
The Federal Reserve projects cutting its key interest rate just once this year amid uncertainty about the Iran war's economic impacts. Chair Jerome Powell says at least in the short term, higher oil and gas prices will boost inflation, but the overall economic impacts are uncertain.
We don't know what the effects of this will be, and really no one does.
For now, the Fed has left its benchmark rate unchanged for a second straight meeting. Central bankers say they expect inflation to keep dropping and reaching their 2% target in 2 years. Powell's term as chair will end in 2 months, and amid an ongoing federal probe of Fed building renovations.
I have no intention of leaving the board until the investigation is well and truly over.
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Wholesale prices came in hotter than expected in February. The Labor Department's Producer Price Index up 3.4% compared with February last year. Sutel reports it's all led to a down day for stocks.
The S&P 500 fell 1.4% Wednesday. That was its first loss of the week. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped 768 points. That's about 1.6%. The Nasdaq Composite fell 1.5%. The price of Brent crude rose almost 4% to more than $107 a barrel. Treasury yields rose in the bond market. The yield on the 10-year Treasury climbed to 4.26%. Seth Sutel, New York.
Both sides in the Iran war targeting energy facilities, Israel hitting an Iranian offshore natural gas field and also killing Iran's intelligence minister in an overnight strike. Meantime, the Treasury Department's easing sanctions on Venezuela's state oil company. And the U.S. national debt has hit a record $39 trillion. This is AP News. Gethin Coolbaugh has a dramatic finish in baseball.
Venezuela has won the World Baseball Classic for the first time, rebounding from a blown 8th-inning lead to beat the United States 3-2 on Eugenio Suarez's tie-breaking double in the 9th.
I have to say thank you all the fans coming in and this year and support our team, our country. It's been so loud for us. It's been awesome.
Venezuela built a 2-0 lead before a roaring pro-Latin America crowd in Miami. Eduardo Rodriguez and lights-out relievers limited the Americans to 2 hits before Bryce Harper's 2-out, 2-run homer in the 8th tied it. Daniel Palencia retired the side in order in the 9th, finishing a 3-hitter. The U.S. fell short of its second WBC title and first since 2017. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred tells AP the World Baseball Classic will be back and could move to mid-season. There's more news at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now your WCPT 820 weather update.
This is Tony Moret. I'm an estate planning attorney who drafts living trusts and wills for my clients. You have probably heard my ads here on WCPT for the last few years. Your fellow listeners, when we have completed their plans, say, I wish I had done this sooner. It wasn't nearly as hard as I thought it would be. We can complete your estate plan within 30 days or less. There are certainly decisions that need to be made, but my 30-plus years of experience will help guide you through this process. There may never be a perfect time to start, but whenever I'm asked when is the best time, my answer is always the same. Now is the best time, while it is on your mind. Being able to tell your family that you have an estate plan in place, that all the details have been taken care of, will be a great relief to both yourself and those you care for the most. Our initial consultation is without charge, and there is no obligation. My phone number is 847-996-0496, and my website is moreelawoffice.com, spelled Moree. I look forward to speaking with you.
You're listening to WCPT 820, because facts matter.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians.
We're about to get started with our Up North podcast, and here to take it away is our fearless leader, Kirk Bangstad.
Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone, to the Up North podcast. We just were introduced by the lovely and irreverent Patti Vasquez from WCPT 820 AM in Chicago. We've got with us who looks like he's being interrogated right now in some crazy room in Appleton. We've got Ben Cominos of Outside the Box, WHBY. Ben, we'll get you in a second explaining what the hell's going on over there. And then we've got Senator Chris Carson, who's joining us from Bayfield. Thank you all for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
What the hell's going on? What the hell's going on before we get launched in here?
Yeah, and I think Patty's Chicago listeners will get a kick out of this. Patty, I'm going to put you on the spot, but do you know what the Pickle Club is that was founded in Chicago in 1920, the progressive movement?
No, I don't. With my little history knowledge and Chicago love, I do not know about the Pickle Club.
Yeah, so if you guys look where I'm at right now, I'm at a local book club in the Appleton area, and they kind of started their own pickle club here a couple months ago, and they meet every third Wednesday. And I've already met some wonderful people putting together a queer clothing drive for May, and a handful of other operations. The DSA is getting a chapter here at Lawrence University. And a lot of cool things like that. So I'm just meeting a bunch of people, like-minded people, like the people that listen to this show. It's pretty neat, actually. First time here.
Fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
Way to get off that high horse from the radio station and join the people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm slumming it with you guys today. But, then I get insulted for it. So it teaches me, right?
All right. We're already getting derailed, but we got a long show tonight. And one of the things, the good thing is that as of right now, as of this week, it seems like the resistance is making a lot of progress and we're winning. We also have a very important date looming ahead of us, and that's April 15th. That's our tax day. And so I wanted to talk about some of the wins that we're having right now, what states should be doing to keep up the resistance, but also delve into something called tax resistance and why that is being talked about more and more in the kind of the progressive resistance kind of like independent media sphere. So first of all, Patti, let us know about what's going on at the federal level, that some of the wins that we've had this week.
First of all, somebody's got some background noise that I've got. I don't know which one it is because I think it wasn't Ben's. I thought it was Ben's, but it wasn't. Just there you go. Let's see. Oh, that might. Oh, that works. Everyone, turn your mics off when it's not your turn. So the Voter Disenfranchisement Act. I'm sorry. It's the SAVE Act, which is being blocked. The Senate has still not been able to pass the SAVE Act legislation that would disenfranchise millions of eligible voters by imposing new documentary requirements for voter registration. And they also, like, anytime you move, you have to have the passport, your birth certificate, all these elements that not everybody has easily accessible. Senate Dems are holding the line via the filibuster with votes ongoing as of the last couple days. There is no passage yet. So the Senate is still on DHS funding. The pressure is sustained because Democrats are holding holding the line on funding for Department of Homeland Security. There is some backroom deals, I think, being made. Some members are pushing to carve out exceptions. I know I heard a legislator say that they have a funding option that would still freeze funding for DHS and ICE, but they still want to demand some of those elements of taking the masks off, the body cams, the training, which is obviously vitally important considering how ICE has been acting. So don't let them make that deal, folks. Restoring TSA funding would be a carve out. That's one of the things I was mentioning, which if they make that TSA funding as a carve out, that would surrender the biggest leverage that we have. So keep calling your senators and tell them that we don't want a deal unless all demands are met. That's all I'm saying. I'm reading the right segment, right?
Everyone's going to forget they're muted the whole show.
Yeah.
No, sorry. Sorry.
So that's all that stuff's happening at the federal level. Ben, there are some wins. So states are what we're really focused on right now. And these guys have been, along with lower level federal judges, states have really been the ones stepping up. New Mexico, California, New York, and Philadelphia. Talk to me about what's going on with those cities and states.
Yeah, they're all exciting examples in different ways. New Mexico actually relates to something I talked about on my program earlier today, highlighting that on the national scene, Democrats need to learn to be proactive and not reactive. We on this show have been anticipating ICE agents at polling places. You anticipate some kind of chicanery once we hit Election Day. New Mexico got ahead of the game. They said, you're not allowed to do this on the state level. There will not be ICE agents at polling places. People are going to feel comfortable when they show up to vote. That right there should be the template for any safe blue state going forward. I think everyone should follow suit. The New York and California situation, we're talking about the funding for these ICE detention centers, as well as kind of taking a chip out of the private prison industry as well. With both California and New York deciding that we are going, or those states, I should say, are intending to divest the public pensions, at the very least, from the stocks in the private prison system. So you hit them in the funding from that perspective, but you also limit the creation of these, we'll just call them concentration camps, because everybody on this panel knows exactly what it is that we're dealing with there. And then going back to my home state, Pennsylvania, although a much worse sports city, Philadelphia, we're looking at the DA, who is taking a very interesting approach to the Epstein files, holding the most powerful people on the list that worked in the city of Philadelphia to account. The district attorney that is Krasner or Krasner. I apologize on the pronunciation. I'm not familiar. But the reason the state level thing is so important is, as we're learning with the pardoning power, the Trump administration can pardon Ghislaine Maxwell, but you can't pardon the state rulings. And if these people are found guilty of state rulings from the Philadelphia DA, there might actually be some consequences for the actions that they engaged in. And again, I don't even think that's a safe blue state decision. I think you should see every attorney general, every governor, every fill in the blank pushing for that outcome there. I don't think you'd get any pushback from either political party.
Awesome, Ben. Thank you for the roundup on the city and state level. We've got Senator Larson here, who is one of the more innovative senators in Wisconsin. He introduces a lot of bills that I agree with, and they're forward-thinking bills. Senator Larson, what are you guys talking about, or what are you thinking about in terms of not only what Wisconsin can do, but what else can states do that they're not doing to push back on Trump that you're thinking about right now?
Yeah, I mean, as long as the states are pushing back, they're doing the right thing on a number of different ways, particularly on dollars, right? So that's a big piece of it for sure, as Ben had kind of mentioned. But also pushing back on folks who have undermined elections. We know that in Wisconsin, Ron Johnson played a particularly close role in trying to overturn the 2020 election, something that gets ignored a lot. And so the more that we can point to the fact that he was trying to do that, the better. The other folks who are trying to go in as fake electors, I think, is important. Cleta Mitchell, who's a conservative election lawyer, she played a key role in efforts to overturn the 2020 election. She could be prosecuted under state law for conspiracy to interfere with elections. Right now, state attorneys generally have this authority that they're not quite using yet. states could use their own terrorism statutes against ICE misconduct. Several states have terrorism laws broad enough to cover organized campaigns of intimidation, unlawful detention, and coercive enforcement. It's pretty clear considering what they're doing. It's a lot of times what the Trump administration is accusing others of is the thing that they are doing. So as they're accusing Alex Preddy of domestic terrorism, at that same time, the things that they were doing of targeting civilians demonstrates that. So going after ICE for common sense things. I know you've talked about New Mexico before. Not sure how much time we've got, but also the fact that holding federal tax dollars in escrow as we approach April 15th. California, New York, Illinois, Minnesota send billions. We do too. We're a net donor to the federal government. Actually, most blue states are. This is a big chip. It's worth starting to explore behind the scenes, but opposing a lot of what the Trump administration is up to at every single level. It's every single time it's going to instigate more people to get involved and recognize the power that they've got. The Iran war that we have unilaterally declared is a good cause to be able to get people to sit up straight and say that they reject everything that they're trying to do. It just came across the wire. You know, we're doing math live here, but I just got a notification that the Trump administration is looking for $200 billion as a supplemental for their Iran excursion. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, not great.
No.
Not great. That's obscene. That's an obscene number this early. That's obscene.
Yeah, right. Yeah. A year after the Doge boys were squeezing PBS and Big Bird, trying to say that they were saving dollars. Now they're looking at $200 billion for what? An endless war. So those kind of things spark people to get involved in a way that's pretty damn clear that other things they might not get off the couch for.
Okay, great. So these are the things that we have our senators. We got to keep calling our senators, Tammy Baldwin, anybody else who's listening, our Democratic senators, to hold the line on funding DHS. Wisconsin could be doing more. We could be emulating New Mexico. We could be divesting our public resources like New York and California. And we're only going to be doing that if we flip the majority of our state legislature. All these places all these states have both their governor and their legislatures on board, which we have to do in Wisconsin to get there. But the most important thing that Senator mentioned was holding our federal tax dollars in escrow until we have safe elections. And so we're going to dig into that in our next segment. And I'm going to let Patti take it away for the radio listeners, and we can all think about that in the next segment.
Well, I appreciate that, because I want to thank our listeners on KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, as well as KKNW 1150 in Seattle. You're tuning in here on the Up North podcast, broadcasting out of WCPT 820 in Chicago. You can also watch some of the live stream, but we're broadcasting this on Substack. So folks want to know where they can watch it right now. We are broadcasting on Substack. And thank you to our sponsors, of course, Minocqua Brewing Company. Please subscribe to that Substack and go to MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. Perhaps put an order for some progressive brew. PrideCoffeeRoasters.com, Source.solar, and Are You Really Winning? March is Gambling Awareness Month. More after this on WCPT.
Believe it or not, this podcast... fast? Whether you're facing foreclosure, stuck with bad tenants, or just ready for a fresh start, House Buyer Network can help. We buy homes as is for cash. No fees, no commissions, no repairs. Get a fair cash offer in just 24 hours and close in as little as 7 days. Call 833-719-5877 now for your free no-obligation offer. That's 833-719-5877. House Buyer Network. Fast cash, no hassle.
Offers are typically below market value in exchange for speed and convenience. Call for details.
Did you know GoodRx can help you save on medication, manage prescriptions, and get trusted health information? If you're one of the millions living with a heart condition, check GoodRx for an easier, more affordable way to manage your health. GoodRx offers common heart medications for under $30. Just search for your prescription, find the best price, then show your pharmacist the GoodRx coupon. And it works whether you have insurance or not. To start saving and better manage your heart health, download the free app or visit GoodRx.com today. GoodRx is not insurance but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Are you looking for more in this world? Are you ready for something bigger? Then we are looking for you. The big-hearted, the bold, the messy and the gutsy. The teachers, the growers, the builders. The skilled, the sharers, the change makers. We need you. We are the Peace Corps. In more than 60 countries, we go all in and all out. We are volunteers, partners, communities, working together, living together, bringing our experience, passion, and joy to building a better world together. From tackling climate change in Mexico to keeping kids healthy in Kenya, from sustainable farming in the Philippines to education in Kosovo. We learn more, give more, share freely, and serve boldly. Are you ready to tackle the tough stuff? To go the distance to make a difference? Then we have a place where you belong. Join us at peacecorps.gov.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
And we are back with the Up North podcast. Take it away, Kirk.
Okay, everybody, we are back in this next segment. We are going to talk about taxes and ways that create more creative people than me are talking about potentially how to resist by not paying our taxes. I'm not creating this out of a bubble. There is a foundation who's been doing this for 40 years called the we'll talk about NWTRCC. I don't know what what an acronym is now. We'll talk about it soon enough. But also lots of folks. Chris Armitage, who's just a wonderful kind of strategist for the resistance, has laid out a lot of different ways that we can think about resisting by withholding taxes. Now, why would we withhold taxes from the federal government? Again, Senator Larson went through it last segment, but all these blue states, especially New York and California, they contribute billions. I mean, vastly more amounts of federal tax dollars to the federal government than most red states do. But Trump has turned around and he's sent ICE into these cities and he's terrorizing their people. And he's also withholding grants, not only to New York, California, but even Wisconsin, UW Wisconsin. He's withholding grants that have already been approved. We have to sue to get them back. But until we win in court, we don't have that money to use, and we get hurt by that. So why would blue states, and I'll talk about in a second, why would individuals pay taxes to a government who's turning around and using those tax dollars to terrorize us, to potentially disappear us into concentration camps? The logic doesn't make a lot of sense. So first of all, I'm going to talk about, we talked about the state level, not paying tax at the state level. And we're going to talk about the mechanisms of that in the next segment, but it's basically holding federal tax dollars in escrow until certain conditions are met. I would argue the biggest condition is to make sure that we have free and fair elections in November. And so I would hold the escrow money until not give it to the federal government until those elections take place and are deemed, non-chaotic and non-screwed with. Now, the second thing I want to bring up is something that it's hard to believe that Governor Evers in Wisconsin, or even Governor Pritzker would go so far as to hold federal tax dollars in escrow. I mean, it seems a little bit wild. It's a wild idea right now. It's on the fringe right now. We're bringing it up because that's what I do. I bring up fringe ideas because I think they're logical. But will they ever get done? Arguably, it's hard to see that happening. But the thing that individuals can do, and what a huge influencer in Chicago, her name is Rachel Cohen. She blew up last week, and she was written about in The Guardian last week because she said she wasn't going to pay her federal taxes. And she went through a litany of the reasons, why she did that, and what the recourse was for doing that. And we'll talk about some of the penalties, but she's making the movement happen, and The Guardian is kind of like making this thought of resisting by not individually not paying your federal income taxes something that people can do. So first of all, let's go back, Ben. let's talk about the states for a second. Why? I know that you've been thinking about this. You know, there are other instances in the federal government where states have kind of just ignored certain edicts from the federal government that are similar to potentially ignoring the need to have to pay your taxes or you know, like right away, or not being able to hold them in escrow. Can you let us know what some of these are?
Yeah, I mean, I think a really obvious one, and one that impacted me personally, was Real ID. For 18 years, it technically was required. I got my Real ID in October, and that was only because my Pennsylvania ID expired after I had lived here for a couple of years. Really no punishment at any point at any time when I was pulled over or used a non-Real ID, whether it was Pennsylvania or Wisconsin, didn't matter. Another very obvious example is with marijuana. You got it illegal on the federal level, with states not necessarily imposing their will or following that law, I should say, on a regular basis. Outside of our Quaker state of Wisconsin, of course, we're still stuck in the past time there. But nevertheless, there's definitely examples for it to work in principle. Although, I mean, as I mentioned in the chat, I am skeptical on how this would play out, because I do think it would, not from a legal perspective, but from a tit for tat perspective. I think we'd be opening a can of worms that a lot of us don't have any time for. But that's just my take on that matter.
All right, so I want to open this up for discussion, because, you know, this is not just stuff that everyone's talking about. This is kind of a new thing. So, Patti, you know, you might be hearing about this for the first time. I don't know. I mean,
I follow Rachel Cohen, and it's funny because go ahead. You finish your thought first.
No, go for it. What do you think about holding taxes back at the state and the individual level?
Okay, so I mean, we do have to talk about these at the same time. I mean, I remember watching Rachel Cohen and thinking, well, that would be nice for you. That it does seem like a privilege to be able to, you know, she knows the law very well. She can make these arguments. It seems like she has the money. I know she was fired from her law firm for the work that she was doing. So let me the state escrow model. I had to do a little more research on it. They're making the same moral claim, right? I will not fund unconstitutional conduct. And by the way, these are the arguments I know over 10 years ago when I found out that we were a donor state and that most of the red states are welfare states, that we pay more into federal government than we get back for services. And that goes to a lot of the programs in red states. And Illinois is one of the, don't even get me started on where we are with disability services. But the difference is the scale of risk, right? Risk distribution. And that's a big problem. And when a state does it, it's spread across the entire state. Rachel Cohen does it, and it's, I mean, she's absorbing that personally, but not everybody has it. They don't have maybe a high yield savings account that they have $8,000 or whatever amount of money that can give them that protection. And, you know, tax resistance requires a financial cushion. That's all I'm trying to say. And I don't think a lot of people have that. And I think it's scary for a lot of folks. You know, you sign that document and it says, I'm signing this to the best of my knowledge. I hope I don't go to jail. That's how I sign my taxes every year. I don't know about you guys.
Chris, what do you think about this? You're the most at risk talking about not doing what the government wants you to do, given your position as a state senator. So I understand that, but you know, maybe philosophically, what are your thoughts on these ideas of how to resist?
I mean, that was the impetus for Henry David Thoreau's civil disobedience, where he refused to pay his taxes and wrote an essay on it and promptly was arrested. But it inspired folks to say, like, look, it part of being a citizen in a democracy requires the consent of the governed, right? That's what makes us a civil society. And if, you know, we've gotten to this point where people can say whatever the hell they want during election season, and then if they're elected, they can do whatever they want. And the only recourse is to then next time around say, okay, well, we're going to vote that person out, as was outlined, right? Like what they're trying to do now with requiring just super standards for who can vote. And there's always been extra hurdles put up for folks throughout the decades. It's pretty clear that they have rigged this entire system in favor of the wealthy, right? Like the folks that the original colonists were rebelling against, the big money that was trying to corrupt the new land, like they've taken over. And if the governed need to figure that out and unite and say that this is not all right, I do think that we still have democratic means to be able to counter that. Pushing back against this war, I think, is a big one, right? Because they're going to need funds to do that. They've already overspent their budget pushing back on new money for DHS and for ICE is another big place to do that. And those are things that are a little bit more bite-sized. And then, of course, of doing disinvestment in these institutions that are supporting the president are ways to do that. But if it's going to be something that happens, you do have to build up the resistance. You do have to get people to understand that they have a lot of power that has been hidden from them. Basically, since the Reagan administration came along and said, you are on your own, you can't rely on anyone else, everyone else is against you, do it by yourself. And so it does kind of require people to recognize, like, you're stronger when you're in community, you can do more with others. And by doing that, by pushing back against a tyrannical government that's, that may be taking up the draft and sending boots on the ground just to get more money into Jared Kushner's bank account, I think it's a good line in the sand for us.
Excellent. Folks, we're going to take a break here. We are continuing the Up North podcast. I don't know. I get so nervous when I think about taxes, but this is such a compelling conversation. I hope you'll continue to join us on WCPT 820, KKNW 1150, and KTNF AM 950. More in a moment.
Believe it or not, this podcast takes a lot of work behind the scenes.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update. This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
WCPT 820 listeners, it's time for some girls news. In 2026, women's entrepreneurship is surging. Driven by a desire for flexibility and accelerated by AI and digital tools, women are increasingly leading in e-commerce, wellness, and service-based sectors, with a major trend towards solo, high-impact, and home-based businesses designed for a work-life balance. Women entrepreneurs are heavily utilizing AI and e-commerce tools to streamline operations and reduce cost. 68% of women entrepreneurs have cited a work-life balance as a primary motivator to becoming a business owner, driving the demand for virtual assistants, digital marketing, consulting, and online coaches. Now, despite the growth, there is a push for better banking support and policy with a focus on addressing the $3 trillion opportunity for women and minority-owned business acquisitions. WCPT 820 listeners, I'm Whitney Rydell, and this has been your Girls News.
A tree can be a warrior, battling global challenges with greater courage. A tree can be a solution, cleaning our air, supporting our communities, and protecting our wildlife. A tree can be noble, growing hope in every corner of the world. That's why now is the time for trees. Millions of trees. Join our planting movement at arborday.org.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
We are back with the Up North podcast. We are thrown off a little bit because we have a little bit of a mechanical issue. I probably pressed the wrong button at some point. But it's the Up North podcast. We're continuing our conversation about taxes and how withholding them, whether it's state or personal, is a way to protest and hold our country accountable. Kirk, take it away.
Mix of how this might happen, both at the federal and personal level in a second. But I wanted to follow up on something that Ben was talking about earlier. Ben, you mentioned a tit-for-tat potential war that states versus the federal government could get into because the federal government still gives us a lot of services. My argument, I will posit that when they're sending ICE to terrorize us and disappear people, and when they're already cutting off grant money, to us, they've already started that tit for tat, and this would be the tat. But tell me more about what you were thinking. I want to get your thoughts fully on this.
So there's no denying the fact that blue states are the purveyors of the tax dollars. I don't think there's any way to circumvent that. But if you guys haven't noticed, we have a stupid president, and that stupid president decided to engage in a war with Iran without realizing that they very easily could withhold the energy, and that throws everything into a flux. As much as we are the exporters of tax dollars, we are the importer of energy services in a lot of ways from Texas, from red areas, and with the assistance of the federal government. And to be perfectly frank, you don't need to tempt the Republicans with cutting social programs. Like, they'll do that even when the tax dollars are there. So the idea of withholding the tax dollars, you know what Trump and that administration would make sure is funded? ICE. And the things that we are absolutely trying to push back against. And what's going to go to the wayside is Medicare, or whatever the situation is. There's an element of this when you're planning this kind of stuff, you have to plan for inevitable outcomes. And I think a very obvious lever, if I were in a red state, the first thing I would do is shut off the energy supply. So that's kind of the way that I look at it there. And we really are dependent on each other.
Yeah, so I love it. I mean, we're war playing right now, how we could really screw each other up, and obviously none of this happens without thinking of recourse. I would just counter, if we're holding federal money in escrow, we can use it to fund the stuff they're cutting off. Like if they do that to us,
we need the avenue. Like, we don't have the oil rigs, we don't have the solar plants, whatever the thing is. Like, we could buy it, we could buy it from another country maybe, but we definitely couldn't generate it.
I hear you. So I think I'm hoping that you're giving me fodder for what I research next in my next essay, Ben. But nice. I want to get back to the mechanics of why this could happen at both the federal and the personal level. So the federal level, we already hold like states collect taxes from businesses, and they hold it to pay, and then they remit those taxes to the federal government. I believe that's true. I know that taxes are withheld, Social Security taxes are withheld from, and I have to hold them, and I give them to somebody, right? And that goes to the federal government somewhere. So there is a mechanism that it passes through, I think the state. So it seems like, holding something in escrow, holding taxes in escrow functionally could happen. The personal model, and we've looked into this and done a little research, and I'm the only one that I feel comfortable reading this because I don't want to put anybody else, I'm happy if the federal government goes after me, but here is the functional way. And I'm not saying that you should do this. I'm saying just for entertainment purposes, if one wanted to do this, here is how they might do it. First of all, one should always file their taxes because but not pay the taxes. Filing the penalties for not filing are vastly higher than just not paying them and just letting it sit for a while, maybe until the Trump administration is over, or at least until the House has overtaken the majority. The Democrats have overtaken the majority. The penalty is 5% for failure to file. It's 5% of unpaid taxes per month, and it's capped at 25% of your total liability. So that could be a very high chunk of money very quickly. But the failure to pay the penalty, the failure to pay penalty is only 0.5% per month. So it's going to take years for you to rack up, a sizable bill of your taxes, and ultimately Doge fired a huge chunk of people in the IRS, and so they don't have a ton of agents left to come after you, especially if you're a small fish. A small fish times a million small fish is a big chunk of taxes, but you're still small. So definitely file, but potentially don't pay. And then filing and not paying is a federally recognized posture. It's how corporations routinely operate when they dispute tax liability. The IRS will send you letters. They might place liens on your property, and they can garnish wages or seize assets. But that's not going to happen until they send you a cajillion letters. By the way, I've been sued a lot in my day, and you get nasty grams for a year before they actually start doing anything that can bite. And we're talking about a resistance here that only lasts, hopefully, up to next year or the next 3. So these are some of the ways, and we'll give you some links to how you can look into this further down the road. But Patti, can you talk to us about some more of these penalties and stuff that that you might happen if you choose not to pay your tax?
Yes, as you mentioned, the 0.5% of unpaid taxes per month, capped at 25%. And the interest currently is 7% annually. I'm sorry, I get so stressed. I do want to let folks that we are informing you. We're having an informational conversation. What you choose to do is entirely up to you.
That's why I told you to talk about the penalties, Patti, because you're warning people not to do this. Obviously, we're not telling people to do this. We're just saying this is what people are writing about.
Yes.
You're warning them about the risks, which is absolutely responsible.
This is what you are risking should you participate in this form of protest. The IRS collection timeline typically begins with automated letters, then a lien on your credit, then potential levy. They can whether it's either a wage garnishment or bank seizure. This process can take years for many cases, and criminal prosecution for non-payment is a federal misdemeanor carrying a maximum of $25,000 and potential jail time. Actual prosecution for good faith civil disobedience as opposed to fraud is historically, but we are living in historic times, so who knows if it's not this time is all I'm saying. It is historically rare. The long-term consideration that you should take is that the government can seize assets from your U.S. bank accounts. If you are planning sustained long-term resistance, consult a counselor from NWTRCC. That's N as in Nancy, WTRCC, about asset planning, including whether keeping funds outside the United States banking institutions makes sense for your situation.
Okay, we've just gotten deep into the weeds of tax resistance. Ben, what do you think about? Would you do this? Is this something you would ever think about doing?
Me personally, hypothetically, I could kick the idea around, but I mean, you know me, I speak on behalf of the millennials and Gen Z that clear $200 every month, and I'd be hard pressed to tell them oh yeah, what's a cash penalty to a certain population, and maybe that's by design. The life that I have, it most certainly could be there. I'm not saying I would do it, but you definitely lay out a compelling rationale for it at the very least.
So I'm going to say, I'm going to put it out there right now. I have told my accountants, to put our federal taxes payments on hold until at least the elections in November. And I'm willing to pay the fines, but I had a feeling, maybe people are going to hear this right now and they're going to go tell the Republican Party, and, they're going to then call somebody who's really going to keep an eye on our taxes. And I'm fine with that. And I'm willing to pay those fines because I will not certainly, I can't pay money to see them turn around and use it against citizens like they are. So the Minocqua Brewing Company will not be paying its federal taxes this year. I'm gonna put that out there right now.
And I am W-2, so I really wouldn't have the option, even if that were the case, because I get money. I feel like I would just be screwing myself over at that point.
Oh, so you say you get refund? You get a refund every year?
Yeah, I'm W-2. Yeah, so
not everybody who's W-2 gets a refund. I'm just saying.
Is that accurate? Chris, you're nodding your head. Yeah, that's accurate. All right. Well, yeah, okay. I have a tax return. Yes.
Nice. All right. So Ben's buying beers after April 15th. It's good to know.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Drinks on Ben.
Yeah.
I was broke too. Well, I was broke when I was an opera singer in New York, and I remember my tax refund was snagged because of a legal thing that I was into, and I thought I was getting a refund, and the government just took it, and I had to take a staycation that year, and I had to cancel a week in Cancun because I had zero money. So Ben, just make sure you don't have any liens on you or anything.
Oh no, yeah, I'm straight on that front. We're good to go there.
Okay, Chris, give us your 2 cents on, what in theory, does this make sense for anybody to resist?
If I don't give you my 2 cents, will you send the federal authorities after me?
You are. No, you got a bigger target on your back than.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you what I am doing, and that is right now we have a $2.5 billion surplus at the state, and I've been encouraging our governor for the last year and a half to not spend and to hold, so that we are not coerced and blackmailed by the federal government, by the Trump administration into doing illegal and horrible things, right? Of like turning over voter rolls, of where they have cut off funds to Medicaid recipients, where they have cut off food share and things like that. So having that level of flexibility, if and when it gets to the point where the feds decide to actually, I guess if we're looking at this as a battle, fire the first shot where they start to hold back federal dollars. And then I think the things that you're outlining are good to have on paper to counter, right? But I do think in the case of trying to be able to get the public sympathy or empathy, which is my job, I work for my 178,000 bosses, so I have to make sure they're on board. They would have to understand exactly what's going on. And I can tell you confidently right now that most of them are not to the level that Kirk Bangstad is at.
Great. Okay, I think we're going to take a break right now, Patti, right? And we will come back with some what you can do's.
Yes, yes, let's do that. We'll be right back. And when we come back, I wanted to write this up. I promise it's not as scary. I know that I've been making it scary. We're just having a conversation, and we're going to walk you exactly through what tax resistance looks like in practice, the penalties, the timeline, the history. Well, we're going to talk about the, what's the name of the organization? It's a long one. The National War Tax Resistance Coordinating Committee here on WCPT 820, Heartland Signal and KKNW in St. Paul, Minneapolis, and KTNF AM 950. That was the one. KKNW in Seattle, KTNF AM 950. Seattle, more in St. Paul. You know what I mean. Bye.
It's the Democracy Stupid with Edwin Eisendrath.
Americans in the founding generation didn't fail to build a palace. They chose not to build a palace. George Washington designed the Oval Office, well, its predecessor, so that hierarchies of rank weren't built into gatherings in the space. Trump's golden ballroom is the architectural repudiation of those egalitarian ideals.
Saturdays at 1 p.m. on WCPT 820.
Save big on your landscape project at Menards. Whether you're shopping for edgers, pavers, or wall blocks, Menards has the largest in-stock selection of concrete landscape block ready to take home today. Build a beautiful border for your landscape with our interlock edgers on sale now through March 22nd. Save big on landscape block at Menards. Also, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
If you're purchasing a new home and working with Rocket Mortgage, listen very closely. Carly, 54, first-time home buyer, income 65 G's a year, contacted Rocket Mortgage for a mortgage. Rocket locked her into a 25-year fixed FHA loan at 6.125%, which sounds great until I reviewed Rocket's loan documents. Carly didn't know Rocket placed her into a 25-year fixed loan, not a 30-year fixed loan like she wanted. Carly also didn't know Rocket Mortgage charged her over $5,000 to lower her rate. I explained why I thought it wasn't in her financial best interest to buy down the rate, and that's why Team Hochberg, not Rocket Mortgage, will be helping Carly with her mortgage. Let's review. Rocket Mortgage placed Carly into a loan she didn't want and didn't understand why Rocket charged her to secure a lower rate. If you want to work with a lender you can trust, give us a call now at 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com, 855-563-2843 or visit our website 56david.com. Atlantic Coast Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 643114.
Because facts matter. You are listening to WCPT 820.
And we are back with the Up North podcast as we continue the very stressful conversation about taxes. You thought it was stressful before. Now you can use it as resistance, and we'll tell you how, why, and maybe why not. Take it away, Kirk Bangstad.
Okay, so Senator Larson, we had to go to commercial, but what you started saying in the last segment, I wanted to revisit. So. And you've been telling me that you're worried that, and tell me if I'm saying something out of turn. You're worried. I mean, we have a surplus right now. Wisconsin has got what's our surplus, Chris? Unmute.
My screen froze and I just got back. So I missed the entire question.
What's our surplus right now?
$2.5 billion.
How much?
2.5 billion with a B.
So we got $2.5 billion surplus, and we got a lot of that money, if I'm not mistaken, during COVID. And the Republican state legislature has refused to allow Governor Evers to spend any of that money for the last 5 years. So we have $2.5 billion in a surplus, which I'm worried about, which Governor Evers cannot be counted on necessarily to keep that money. But we're talking about withholding tax dollars to the federal government, if they're hurting us. And if we had a governor who realized that a state might need extra money in order to fund the services that the federal government might cut off if we don't obey them, or we might need money to buy our own gas if we decide not to pay federal tax dollars. Oh my gosh, we got $2.5 billion in a reserve that we could use if we had to fight back against our own federal government. Chris, wouldn't that be wise if we kept that? Right now?
I think right now there is a conversation that's happening between the governor and Republican leaders, and there's a rumor that all three of them are going to be gone. Two have confirmed that they're not going to be here next year. The third, the Senate leader, is rumored to be leaving. And so there is a real worry that they decide to come up with some type of a deal to spend that money. And there are a lot of us who are proposing just to pause, to say, let's hold on to this. So as people are figuring out the scheme of things, it does make a lot of sense to say, you know what, there's a lot of uncertainty out there. Let's just hold off. And frankly, the best case scenario is in Wisconsin, we are on track to be to get a trifecta of retaining the governorship, of having a new Democratic governor who is more in touch with the people, of turning the state Senate, which got even closer yesterday. Another retirement was announced of a targeted seat. And then in the assembly, we're just 5 seats away. And some of those seats were just hundreds of votes away. So if there is a blue tidal wave, then at the very least, it makes sense that Democrats have control where they can spend that money. But for the sake of your argument, yeah, I think it's better to make sure that we are holding that money in almost an escrow. And then on top of that, we actually do have a rainy day fund. So just preparing for the worst, because that sure seems like a valid prediction these days in 2026.
Great. Thanks, Chris. And it makes absolutely no sense to me how the governor could possibly be entertaining giving that federal money away before he leaves and before we know what Trump might do to us. So that's something that is new to me, Chris, as of tonight, and it's something that I think we got to probably talk about more. We've got a lot of Democrats who listen to the show, a lot of Democrats who can write in to Governor Evers and dissuade him from doing anything like that. Just because he wants a good eulogy on his headstone that he gave money back to folks, while he was governor. I don't think that's good enough right now. Anyways, let's go back to. I want to be able to. Amy, can you put this slide on the show for everybody? So we talked about tax resistance. Well, this is not in a void. This has been since 1982, the National War Tax Resistance Coordinating Committee. They probably make it a bad acronym on purpose, just so it's harder to find, but it's a resistance acronym on its own. But the National War Tax Resistance Coordinating Committee has been around since 1982. Even Joan Baez didn't pay her taxes when the Vietnam War was happening. And they've been a central hub for tax resistance in the United States, and they coordinate tax resistors across the country. They offer training, legal referrals, and community support. So and this was in the Guardian article that talked about Rachel Cohen's protest. In January, they got 110,000 unique visitors to their website. They say it's the highest interest level in the organization's history. So this might sound like a fringe kind of thing, but it's growing. The idea is growing. They're getting a lot of hits. And what I wanted to say is, you can go to the national office. There's a Madison, Wisconsin area contact. There's all of these URLs that you can go to and you can email. But one of the things you're going to get once you go to their website is you're going to get, the how-to guides. And I wanted to briefly talk about some of these how-tos, which kind of would spark some of your ideas in your mind. So, apparently, you can withhold all or a portion of your federal income taxes, throughout the year. If you pay quarterly, you should withhold them. And the starting point should be $10.40. 1040, I believe, is the symbol for this. And this has been around longer. This has been around for over 40 years. So a lot of people know more about it than we do. You're going to adjust your W-4 to reduce withholding throughout the year so you can control your own money. You to redirect withheld taxes to a community fund, mutual aid organization, or alternative fund in your area. You file on paper instead of electronically. This legally slows the system down. So they have to pick up your paper. They have to put it in a thing. They have to input it into a computer. All resistance stuff we've been talking about throughout the year has basically said, if the federal government's coming down on you hard, throw sand in their gears. We can't win because they have the army on their side, and they have the IRS on their side. But you can slow them down. And if you throw sand in the gears and, filing with paper throws sand in their gears. You can send a protest letter to the IRS with your filing, forming a war tax resistance affinity group with neighbors. So you talk to your friends about it. You organize like you organize everything else. Those are some of the things you'll find if you go to these websites here on ways to kind of tax resistance. Patti, what else is there in some of these contacts that people can look up?
And I know that sounds compelling to some of the listeners because people want to have something to do. There is a nationwide network of counselors who can help you understand your options and connect you with attorneys who have experience handling tax resistance cases. We're talking again about the National War Tax Resistance Coordinating Committee. The NWTRCC also administers the War Tax Resistors Penalty Fund, a mutual aid fund that reimburses resistors for IRS-imposed penalties and interest, not the tax itself, just so you understand. Since 1982, the fund has paid out approximately $250,000 to support resistors who faced IRS collection. So, I mean, I didn't even realize this was happening, Kirk. I was not familiar with this.
So you just gave me an idea. We can sell a tax beer, and the proceeds can go to the bank that helps people pay their fines.
There you go.
There's got to be a way we can do this. Ben, do you have any thought? Oh, Ben took off. Okay.
No, Chris.
I'm here.
Oh, Ben, talk to me. I think this is. Well, you think this is fringe or not fringe?
I mean, I definitely don't think it's fringe. I think it makes sense in principle. Logistically, I understand where it's coming from, but I just, like I always say, I think it's a matter of ginning up enough support for it. Are people in the right mind state to try and get there? I think there's a lot of variables going into it here. And again, with every passing day, we really didn't even talk about it. With the resignation of that Joe, what's his face from the counterterrorism unit,
Kent.
That dude's diehard. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that dude's diehard MAGA. And if you lose somebody like that, what do you think's like? So I love the idea, but I like being prepared. I like these mind games of just thinking about it. But I think I'm optimistic these days. I'll tell you what, I'm optimistic these days.
I hear you. I'm optimistic too that this Iran war will give us enough headwinds to even avoid a coordinated attempt to steal our elections from us because things are going so badly.
Yeah.
Weird thing to be optimistic for,
I
but
know, I was
yeah,
gonna say.
I agree.
it was weirdly phrased.
Yeah.
Well,
Don't clip that quote.
We are. Yes, thank you. Unclip it. Thank you so much. We've got to wrap up, you guys. It was another episode of the Up North podcast. I want to thank Senator Chris Larson of Wisconsin, Ben Cominos, the host of Outside the Box on WHBY. You can download the app, I guess.
And it's on YouTube now. Read the thing.
It's on YouTube as well. And of course, Kirk Bangstad, our fearless leader. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Thank you to our sponsors, Pride Coffee Roasters, Source Solar, Minocqua Brewing Company, of course, and Are You Really Winning? Love you, Lady B. Good night, everybody.
Find power and prestige in a brand new Porsche from the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park. Browse and test drive our